So, there's just been a new Hypixel patch. Maybe now players might actually be able to afford to buy the things that they want. Honestly, people are absolutely losing it, and they've dropped 100 mil in about 20 minutes? Patch 0.18.5. Balancing and other additions. There's no more Abby phone contacts. Boring. Increase the size of the pet menu. Interesting. Increased each of the katana's enderman damage bonus by 50%. The cheapest recombobulated atom split is 113 mil. Okay, I'm not surprised. Honestly, this is clever and I'll get to that later. Economy-related changes. NPC sell prices have been changed for the following items. Carrots from 4 to 3, warts from 5 to 4, potatoes from 4 to 3, and sugarcane from 5 to 4. This is obviously to incentivize people to sell to the bazaar. Heavily increase the drop rates of recombobulators on most floors. Increase the drop rate and the price of Necron's handle and its constituent scrolls with a shield, shadow warp, and implosion. I've heard that the Necron's handle's gone from 35 mil to 100 mil, and the scrolls from 15 mil to 50 mil. Increase the price of the Dark Claymore, and now if you list an item on the AH for between 10 million to 100 million coins, you pay 2% for listing, and anything above 100 million coins is 2.5%. Low ballers are about to make bank. That's all I'm saying. Honestly, look at how much they've changed. This is insane. Like, I don't think we've seen anything this substantial for a long time. Now it's clear that these changes are specifically to target inflation. Number 1, scrolls are now significantly easier to drop. Also the same for handle, which means the price of the Hyperion is going to go down because there's going to be way more supply, therefore making it more obtainable for a lot of players. Recombobulator prices have also gone down, and to be honest, this is already working, 8 mil, and it needed to because they were too expensive for what they are. Now they increased the damage stat on the katanas, which is honestly really quite smart. Number 1, I mean, it's now going to be easier to do Enderman Slayer melee. But think about it, if you don't melee Enderman Slayer, then what are you going to do? Use a Hyperion. If it's way more viable to use an Atom Split Katana, which is number 1 way cheaper, and number 2 now 50% better in terms of damage, then less people are going to use Hyperion to do Enderman Slayer. Which means, in theory, I mean, I don't know how well it's actually going to work, but in theory, the demand for Hyperion is not only going to go down, but the supply is going to go up. So now we have recombobulators going down in price, we have Hyperions going down in price, and in theory, farming shouldn't be as good. Now, prior to the Ghana 1.5 update, the prices of crops on the bazaar was substantially lower than after, and that's because the NPC sell value was obviously higher once the update came out. You see, what this now means is, say for instance, if I go to the bazaar and buy a carrot, okay, whatever, to instantly buy it is 6 coins. I'm going to lose coins, but I don't care, it's like nothing. Okay, and I go to sell it at the NPC and it's 3 coins, right? Well, the price is a little bit unstable at the moment, but providing that this bazaar price stays higher than the NPC's price, then people are obviously going to sell to the bazaar, which is what Hypixel wants. You see, when people sell items to an NPC, they're basically just voiding the coins. It is basically the equivalent of a government printing money. And that was one of the massive problems, of course, with the amount of macros people F11 in, basically just AFK in farming. Of course, you're either going to sell it to the NPC or the bazaar, and if it's more profitable to sell it to the NPC, then you'd be stupid to sell to the bazaar. Now, we'll see once this price stabilizes what it actually stabilizes at, and if it's better off, selling to the bazaar or the NPC. But providing this price on here stays higher than the NPC, then it kind of works. However, the bazaar price is solely based off the NPC sell price. So this will be interesting to see if this change actually works. I mean, in theory it will work because people still sell to the NPC and they'll make less coins. Now, before I go any further, you should subscribe to the channel, become part of the 24%, there's no reason not to. Also, you should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of every single video. Now, I have one worry, and I'm not sure how it's going to pan out yet. In terms of dungeons, recombobulators are way easier to drop, which means the price is going to decrease. Makes sense. Necron handles and scrolls. Not only are they now less profit because you have to pay more for them, the prices are going to go down, but obviously the chance of you getting them is now way higher. So you're going to have some people who are thinking, well, it's a good idea to do more dungeons because I've got more chances of getting good drops. But at the same time, you've got people that are going to be thinking, well, if I do dungeons, yeah, I'm going to be able to get the drops more frequently, but they're not really as much profit as they were, so is it even worth doing it? So it'll be interesting to see where it sort of equals out and if these prices do actually substantially decrease. I mean, it is definitely working to some extent because people are definitely panic selling some items. Like, if you were to quick sell any of these scrolls, you're going to get 300 mil. Yesterday, you would have got like 450. Not even yesterday, like an hour ago. I'm so happy to see the prices of recombobulators going down. Like, recombobulating a whole talisman bag when recombobulators are 16 mil is, I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. But it really will be interesting to see what effects this change in the price of the katanas, and specifically the atom split, has on the Hyperion. Realistically, Enderman Slayer wasn't content locked behind a Hyperion. You can still do Enderman Slayer without a Hyperion, although you don't really have to be as progressed, have as high stats, have as better, you know, the rest of the gear to do Enderman Slayer. And now you can use this and have 50% extra damage, which is kind of crazy. The Dark Claymore is now more expensive to drop from dungeons, but it doesn't really seem to have impacted the price too much. Maybe potentially is almost gone down a little bit. It's definitely a huge step in the right direction though. You know, a Hyperion really, it used to, I mean it still does, it unlocks a lot of content. The Hyperion being significantly cheaper, which it will learn to be once people start dropping more handles and scrolls. It is just so good for the game. At the moment, right, okay, you can do Kudra without a Hyperion. You can do it. Realistically, though, to not be carried, you know, most people are going to need a Hyperion. Obviously not for tier 1 and maybe not for tier 2, but anything else is almost essential. And the prices of these scrolled Hyperions are already going down to less than 2 billion, which is actually good. Like, I don't know what the price is going to settle at, but it'll definitely make, you know, but places like the Crimson Isles much more accessible to players that would struggle before. I think that's really good, especially for Kudra, because there's so many items that are locked in Kudra. For instance, like, just simply getting the completion. Obviously, you don't need a Hyperion for the completion, but then to compete, you know, people, you're going to see much more people with, like, much better armor in terms of Crimson, Aurora, Terror, and so on. So to sum it up, majority of what took place in the Garden 1.5 update has been reversed. Hyperion, in terms of the actual handle and scrolls, are now going to be substantially cheaper and easier to drop. Recoms are easy to get, they've already dropped, and they will continue to drop. Things are on the up, you know? I think things are looking good. You know, I mean, my net worth is going to drop, but it's for the best. It is definitely for the best. It was inflated anyway. Anyway, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.